Welcome everyone, and thank you for attending the John S. Gates seminar series. And today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing a colleague of mine from my academic home at the Skaggs School of Pharmacy. Dr. Dan LaBarbera is in the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and I had the opportunity to tour his lab before the Gates Institute was created, and then soon thereafter brought a small group of people to come tour the center. Not just the lab, because it is actually, you'll see pictures, I am certain of what he's doing there, but Dan brings a really interesting perspective to drug discovery and bringing products through their development, which we are all about. And I hope this will serve as another opportunity for us to think about partnership in ways that the Gates Institute and the center can work together. Dr. LaBarbera is a professor at the school. He has really done a lot of work in cancer drug discovery, and he also looks at products through their development, in vivo, in vitro, lots of different phases that I think we'll be very interested in learning more about. And my hope is that we could partner with you to help accelerate some of our potential candidates. So I can't wait to hear more. He's going to tell us a little bit about the center at the beginning of the presentation, and then transition to a project that he's working on in cancer. So welcome, I'm really glad to have you.
Thank you so much, Laura, for the invitation to present today, and also for the kind introduction. I'm really happy to be here to present to you. And as Laura said, my presentation is really going to cover two topics. One, I'd like to introduce all the Gates members to the Center for Drug Discovery and our infrastructure, and how we can really help all of you reach your research goals and to develop innovative drug products towards the clinic. And then the second part of my talk will be focused on small molecule drug discovery and development that's been happening in my lab, and that we're commercializing and moving towards the clinic as well. So the first part, let me just sort of set the playing field for everybody and give a little bit of a background on the preclinical drug discovery and development process. And really what I want to emphasize here is that the Center for Drug Discovery, we deal with small molecules, but we can also work with biologics. That includes peptides, proteins, antibodies, and other biologic products. And in addition, we can work very well with cell therapies like CAR T cells. So keep that in mind as we discuss drug discovery and development moving forward. So on the right here, virtual laser pointer. This is just a cartoon representation in wheel form of the drug discovery and development process. This typically starts with molecular target identification, or in many cases, phenotypic identification. And then we want to harness that for drug discovery. Oftentimes, and what we have on this campus, which I'll highlight, is robotic high throughput discovery sciences to get to hits or active molecules or potential drug products. And then we want to develop those and optimize them through drug design, medicinal chemistry, and follow in an iterative process with drug metabolism, pharmacokinetics, and early stage toxicology, but also in the area of early stage formulation. And I think that's really important. And so from here to here, that's typically the early preclinical stage of the drug discovery and development process. Eventually, that leads to what we call the investigational new drug, or the regulatory process. And this begins preclinical as well, and as early as non-GLP or GLP studies. So that could be bioanalysis, DMPK in 2 animal species, typically a rodent and a canine, or it could be a monkey. And then in parallel to that, or at some point, you're going to have to manufacture your drug product. Initially, maybe that's non-GMP grade, but before humans, you'll have to make GMP grade. And then, of course, clinical trials, and then review and approval. So what you're seeing here is a cartoon depicting what is known as the Valley of Death. And really, what I've done is superimpose that drug discovery and development process as a pipeline over that. And on the one hand of the valley, you have academia, right? Academia, because of its academic freedom, breeds innovation in both technology, but also understanding disease models. They also have very close ties to the clinic, typically health science centers like ours, which have close ties to the hospitals and other clinics on campus. On the other hand, you have the pharmaceutical industry. So the pharmaceutical industry also has obviously innovation. They also have technology. However, they're very focused on developing a drug product. And the idea is to get that drug product to the commercial market and to the clinic as quickly as possible to gain profit, but also obviously they want to help people, but the idea is to move that drug product quickly. And so they have very little appetite for high risk innovation. And so as a result of that, that creates this so-called valley of death. And so, and I position this right over the valley, because that's really, in terms of drug development, that's really where academic innovation in drug products falls to the bottom of this valley of death. You know, right at the lead optimization, preclinical development, and then even right before early phase clinical trials. So what we really want to do at the Center for Drug Discovery is be a bridge to overcome this valley of death and to develop a pipeline of investigational new drugs, whether that be a cell therapy, a biologic, or a small molecule, and really move it as far as we can closer to the other side of the valley, where it becomes more attractive for investors and pharmaceutical company to get behind the technology and move it forward through clinical trials. So the vision of the center is to be a hub for drug discovery and development in Colorado and beyond. We want to be nationally known and internationally recognized. We want to bridge that gap, that valley of death. We want to de-risk academic innovation for commercialization. And we definitely want to collaborate with faculty, all academic units, including departments, centers, and institutes like the Gates Institute. And more importantly, we want to be a facilitator to bring academia closer to industry and collaborate with industry as well. So one of the things we really want to do is provide infrastructure and expertise to accomplish that. And we want to harness the academic innovation on this campus. That's really what we want, our goal is. And then optimize and prioritize those lead drugs. So at the center, we're really developing infrastructure in the area of high throughput discovery sciences, medicinal chemistry, in vitro DMPK, drug formulation, and in vivo pharmacology, focused on DMPK and toxicology, with the idea of bridging that gap, as you see there. So in order to accomplish that, we're building or have built infrastructure. So what we have is the Drug Discovery and Development Shared Resource. The D3SR has 4 core facilities. The 2 most developed cores are high throughput screening, high content screening, discovery sciences core. Then we have medicinal chemistry, pharmaceutics, where we can help develop formulation or do in vitro DMPK studies. And then pharmacology. The pharmacology core is well established, and this is directed by Dr. Dan Gustafson, and really focuses on learning about drug products in terms of pharmacokinetics and early stage toxicology. So as you can see in this cartoon here, these core facilities really help to overcome those gaps in terms of infrastructure and also provide expertise to really move potential innovation from academia to industry. So what I'd like to do is share with you some of the state-of-the-art technology that we've built right here on our campus. And that starts with our high throughput discovery sciences core, part of the D3SR. And what you're seeing here is an image of our discovery sciences core laboratory. And what you have there is our G3 Explorer robotic automation platform. It's fully enclosed, and on top we have HEPA filters. That way we can keep all of our during screening all of our assays or cell models that we're working with in sterile conditions. But let's take a little peek inside. In this schematic, you can see some of the featured equipment on here. So we have a Phoenix high content imaging system. This is really state of the art, and it can do imaging in 2D or 3D and allows us to really capture events that the human eye just can't comprehend. So we can also apply this to image-based machine learning and artificial intelligence. We have state-of-the-art liquid handling with the Janus robotic liquid handling. This itself is a robot that can do liquid handling and stamp with a 96 or 384 channel head in literally seconds, what it might take a researcher in a lab hours, days, weeks, or years to do. We have a drug library right now consisting of 125,000 small molecules. Some of these are FDA approved drugs, but most of them are diversity sets, which means we can get new intellectual property right from drug screens. And we have right now an instrument that we're working with Cell Inc. to develop. It's a 3D bioprinter, but it's specifically designed to be integrated with robotics. And so we have the only one in the country right now, and I think that's a great resource. And so we're working to develop that. I think this really is useful for especially people at the Gates Institute who are working to discover cell therapies and biologics. And this 3D printer will help us make really complex organotypic models or organoid models that will be very fruitful for Gates members to take advantage of. And of course, we have cell incubator that holds 250 plates and lots of other equipment on this system. So this is a cute little diagram, but I thought I'd prepare you a video of the actual equipment working in concert together with a robotic arm. So what you're seeing here is the plate being called from the incubator, and our robotic arm sits on a track system, so it allows it to integrate with all of our equipment. Here we can even delid without a human hand. Our plates are then placed on the Janus liquid handler. And one plate you can imagine being an assay plate of a complex disease, and the other plate is a drug library plate. And in that instant, we've already added 384 different potential drugs. And that could be 384 biologics, 384 different cell types, you name it, we can do it. So again, the robot is very flexible, integrates with all the equipment. And the nice thing about the robot is, well, I need a coffee break, I need to eat lunch, I need to go home and take my son to swimming or whatever and go to sleep. We can actually run this robot 24/7, and we can run it remotely if need be. So we can continue to work while all of us need to get our rest and get ready for the next day. So with that, just some important points that I just want to highlight. So we're ready to collaborate with Gates Institute members on small projects and big projects, okay? We're ready to advance your projects within whatever budget constraints you have. We can work with small budgets and large budgets, and we can provide, generate great data to support your grants, support your initiatives. We can also provide expert writing in terms of grant writing and expertise in that area. We have state-of-the-art infrastructure that I think the Gates Institute really needs to capitalize on. And again, as I mentioned, we really want to work with the Gates Institute on building large programmatic initiatives between the Center of Drug Discovery and the Gates Institute and other units on campus, including the Cancer Center. We work very closely with CU Innovations. And the reason for that relationship is it's really important that if you want a drug product to go to the clinic, we need to protect the intellectual property there. And I think I've got a lot of experience in this, so I can provide some advice and expertise in getting you to the right people, but also what's the best way to protect your property, your intellectual property. And also, I've got some experience in startup company. I've started my own company, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. But the idea there is that we can also provide you some guidance if you're interested in commercializing